Hey credit warriors, welcome to the show. Now, you know when you're browsing YouTube and there is a video that is just stalking you. Maybe it's the algorithm being creepy, or when a certain video gets a lot of views, YouTube puts it out to people who also may be interested in that topic. Well, with me, it's been happening with this video by John Liang on the Capital One Venture X. It shows up in my feed, in my suggested videos, in my closet. Well, you get the idea. Anyway, in the video, he shares why he thinks the Capital One Venture X is the #1 credit card of 2022. And since this video has been stalking me on YouTube for the past week or so, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on his thoughts on the Capital One Venture X. And this video is brought to you by Dave, but more on that later.
The best credit card of 2022, the Capital One Venture X.
Oh, it uses that same ding sound effect that I do.
In 2021, Capital One stepped it up big with the launch of the Venture X to compete directly against the American Express Platinum and the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
So his whole thing is that he is comparing the Venture X to the Amex Platinum and the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Now, personally, I think a comparison to the Amex Platinum isn't really an apples to apples comparison, since the Venture X has a low annual fee of $395 and then a $300 travel credit that brings that down to $95 and perhaps even lower, more on that later, whereas the Amex Platinum has a very high annual fee but is packed with benefits. So I don't see it as an alternative to the Amex Platinum. I think the target customer is not the same. I think it definitely is an alternative to the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Both cards have a $300 travel credit that's almost exactly the same, and they have very similar benefits. But I think Capital One is also competing with the other kind of low-end tier 4 premium cards, such as the US Bank Altitude Reserve. That card has a $400 annual fee and a $325 travel credit, which brings the annual fee effectively down to $75. However, the Venture X has more benefits than the Altitude Reserve. But anyway, let's see what John says about each aspect of the card: the bonus, the point earning, the benefits, and the annual fee. Starting with the bonus.
So the sign-up bonus is a little bit down from its launch of 100,000 miles. Not sure we'll see that again, so I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5 JFTs.
So the current welcome bonus is 75,000 miles for spending $4,000 on purchases in the first 3 months. Whereas the welcome bonus at launch was 100,000 points for spending $10,000 in 6 months, and there was a $200 vacation rental credit in there as well. Now, vacation credit aside, since you may or may not find that convenient to use, just looking at the bonus, the current welcome bonus is actually, from a certain perspective, a better deal. Since you get 18.75 points per dollar spent on the 75,000 point bonus with 4,000 in spending, whereas with the original 100,000 for $10,000 in 6 months, you actually only get 10 points per dollar spent. So if you have a limited amount of money to spend on welcome bonuses, you're better off getting the 75,000 point welcome bonus at 18.75 points per dollar spent and then moving on to get a bonus on another card. You would end up with more points that way, rather than having to spend $10,000 at a mere 10 points per dollar. And if you have a look at the competition, the Chase Sapphire Reserve is $4,000 for 60,000 points. That's 15 points per dollar. The Amex Platinum is $6,000 for 100,000 points, which is 16.6 points per dollar. So it actually beats the two that John compares it to. And the Altitude Reserve, if you're wondering, is 11.1 points per dollar spent. So personally, I would go one more than John, and I would give it 5 out of 5 for the bonus. Let's move on to the point earning. But first, if you want to get into the credit card game and earn all those points and rewards for free travel, you're gonna need to build your credit score first. Let me introduce Dave to you. Dave is a banking app that lets you get an advance of up to $500 instantly using their extra cash service. You can then build your credit score just by paying back this advance on time. Having this feature is great for getting yourself out of unforeseen situations. Like, for example, you take your car to the mechanic for an oil change and they tell you that all your spark plugs need replacing and it's gonna cost $500. Something like that has literally happened to me with both my spark plugs and my tires. But Dave has your back. And with Dave, there's no interest and there's no credit check when you apply. Just think of it as a little helping hand from your future self that gets you out of a tight spot and builds your credit at the same time. So download Dave today at dave.com/Ben. That is dave.com/Ben. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member FDIC. All right, now let's move on to point earning. So this card earns 2 points per dollar on all spend. There are a couple of bonus categories, okay? Hotels and car rentals through Capital One Travel, you get 10 points per dollar, and flights through Capital One Travel, you get 5 points per dollar. However, there are no regular bonus categories like grocery, dining, etc. John thinks that is a little bit of a problem.
I'm gonna give it a little bit of a ding, and I'm gonna say, for the earnings category, this gets a 4 out of 5 JFTs.
And I do too. Personally, the majority of my spending is done in bonus categories like dining, grocery, Amazon.com, and travel. I have very little non-category spend, so using a card that is just 2x on everything is a big opportunity cost for me. I would be missing out on 4x points per dollar on grocery and dining on the Amex Gold, 5% cash back on the Amazon.com card at Amazon or Whole Foods if I go to Whole Foods, 4 points per dollar on gas with the Business Gold, or 8 points per dollar on gas with the Wyndham Business Earner card, and then you've got cards like the Chase Freedom with the rotating quarterly categories where you can earn a lot of points as well. So personally, I'm only going to give it 3 out of 5 for point earning. And that's really because it's mainly just a 2 point per dollar card. The bonus categories it does have force you to use the Capital One travel portal. And if you do that, especially for hotels, you often won't get the benefits of your hotel status. Notably with Marriott, if you book through a third party and you're like Marriott Gold or above or whatever, you don't get any of the benefits like room upgrades, etc. I got treated terribly at the W Hotel in DC with a room with a very horrible view because I booked through a portal, so I couldn't use my gold benefits. All right, now let's move on to the benefits of the Venture X. Now I think for benefits, I'm going to agree with John on a lot of this, and he did talk in the video about something I didn't know about to do with the lounge access on the Venture X.
You can add a free authorized user onto your Capital One Venture X. That free authorized user can then get a priority pass lounge network, and so they can then bring in 2 guests.
So yeah, this is similar to the American Airlines executive card where you can get authorized user cards for free, and the authorized user cards still get Admiral's Club lounge access. With the Venture X card, authorized user cards are free and they still get priority pass membership with 2 guests. So with 1 primary card and 1 authorized user card together, you'd be able to get 6 people into Capital One lounges, Priority Pass lounges, or the new Plaza Premium lounges that were just added. That's way better than what's offered on the Amex Platinum or the Chase Sapphire Reserve, where you have to pay for authorized user cards. And it totally blows the Altitude Reserve out of the water, because with that one, you only get 4 free visits for yourself and 4 free visits for a guest per year on their Priority Pass program. And then you have to start paying per visit. Then you also get global entry / TSA pre-credit. Always go for global entry because it includes TSA pre, unless you're in a rush because the application takes longer. You get primary collision damage waiver through the Visa Infinite benefits. You get Hertz Car Rental President's Circle status, which is their highest level of status, and cell phone protection at $800 a claim, which matches the Amex Platinum. And don't forget, you also get 15 transfer partners where you can transfer your points to, and they take on greater value once they're transferred. So for benefits, here's what John gives it.
This gets 5 out of 5 JFTs.
And I would agree, 5 out of 5. There are, however, cards that do offer a much larger suite of benefits, notably the Amex Platinum, so it is 5 out of 5 considering how low the annual fee is. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Here's what John says about it.
I mean, I would say this is like 6 out of 5 JFTs.
And the reason he says that is that after you deduct the $300 travel credit and then the $100 global entry credit in the first year, and then in the second year, you get a 10,000 points bonus on your anniversary, and every year after that, which is worth $100. So once you deduct both of those from the $395 annual fee, you're actually left with a net positive of $5. That's right, you get paid $5 to have this card, and then on top of that, you get all the benefits like the lounge access, the transfer partners, the Hertz President status, etc. You get a similar situation with the Altitude Reserve in the first year being net positive $25 due to the travel credit and the global entry / TSA pre-credit, but then after that, you are effectively paying an annual fee of $75. With the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you you do have a $300 travel credit, but then you have a load of other credits like a monthly GoProf credit that's really hard to keep track of, so you won't necessarily completely offset the annual fee. And then we have the Amex Platinum, which is really a glorified coupon book at this stage. It has loads of credits valued up to $1,500, but whether you really could use all those to offset the annual fee is really down to your personal spending habits. So I'm going to agree with John, kind of. I'll give it 5 out of 5 on the annual fee, not 6 out of 5. 5 out of 5. And then as to the main question, is it the #1 credit card of 2022? I'm going to say no, not for me personally, okay? Personally, I've been getting a lot of value out of the Amex Platinum this year. I've been using the Fine Hotels and Resorts collection a lot. I've used it twice already this year. I'm probably gonna use it again for another trip to Vegas this fall. I've been using the Walmart Plus membership from the Amex Platinum for 10 cents off per gallon on gas. And I've got back $640 in value from the credits that I've used so far. And I'm just counting the ones that I would have paid for anyway. So I've actually got more value than that out of the card. But what I would say is that it is the best card of 2022 for people who are kind of new to the credit card travel hacking game and just want to get their feet wet with a card that has lounge access, etc., without having to fork out a hefty $695 annual fee up front. If you get this card just before booking a trip somewhere, you can get that $300 travel credit back immediately, and then with the additional $100 credit, you really are being paid $5 to have this card, and then on top of that, you get all those free guests through authorized user cards with Priority Pass. It does actually kind of remind me of when the Chase Sapphire Reserve launched back in 2016. It gave you a $300 travel credit and unlimited guests through Priority Pass. I was new to the credit card game back then, and I did indeed apply for the Sapphire Reserve as my first Tier 4 or premium travel credit card. Now, if you took 2016 me and transported me to 2022, I would not be applying for the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I would be applying for the Capital One Venture X. All right, guys, that is the video. You can check out John's original video on this topic in the description box below. Also, a big thank you to Dave for sponsoring this video. You can check out their service right at the top of the description box. You can check out my usual credit card guide in the links below as well. Thank you for watching, guys. What do you think of the Venture X? Please leave a comment, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.